two things before he even gets to college that just made me love him even more. So the first thing is, he got discovered at around age 16 is when he started playing basketball. He met a guy named Guy Lewis. He met a guy named Guy Lewis, who was then the head basketball coach.
For my Naruto fans, he could also be called Guy Sensei. Keep on. That's fine. You don't understand that, Russell, but my Naruto fans will.
I don't, but it made me laugh anyways. He's the head basketball coach for UH at the time, and he agreed to bring Hakeem to America for a tryout.
We'd all heard the stories about what he had done in Africa, how he played a little bit of basketball, not a lot. He played team handball, he played soccer, and we really had nothing to pin it on because none of us had ever seen him play before he got to Houston.
A guy named Chris Pond is sending this kid over.
Christopher Pond, he was coaching Central Africa. He said, well, if I arrange the visa, will you go? I said, of course.
Right? So he gets off the plane. Hakeem's got a bunch of different places to go do said tryouts, right? He has a few different tickets, but the first place he lands is JFK. At that point, one of the biggest airports in the world. Makes sense. He would arrive from Nigeria. I'm sure he took a few connectors to get to JFK. I don't think there's any straight shots in 1980 from Nigeria to JFK. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that was probably a trip and a half to get there. But he gets there, right? Never obviously been to America before. Obviously, he has the dream of coming to America. He's quoted as saying...
Obviously, he has the dream of coming to America.
So my man is Eddie Murphy now?
Direct quote from Hakeem Olajuwon before I get seen as some asshole. Everyone in Nigeria dreams of going to school in America, said Hakeem. Schools there are much more advanced. That is what I wanted to do. So, there. Not just me said it. Hakeem said it.
I'm just saying, the way you said it sounded like you're doing some coming to America shit, and we were talking about Eddie Murphy.
Listen.
All right, we'll let you get through your Hakeem intro. Yeah, we've thrown you off so much.
Before you fucking get me going off about Coming to America, one of my favorite movies. But he gets to America. He's never been there before, right? He gets off the plane. Mind you, he's still inside. He's still in JFK. Now, he takes one step outside in the middle of what I think is January. It's winter, I know that for sure. Takes one step outside and goes, holy shit! This is terrible! Doesn't even go to his tryout with, I think it's St. John's. Yes. If I'm wrong, it'll be underneath me.
I'm pretty sure it's St. John's.
Doesn't even go to his tryout with St. John's. And the movie Phi Slam Majama that ESPN put out about a decade ago, the way they have it, and that's how I'm going to choose to tell it in this story, the way they have it is, he goes back inside, he's got the rest of these airport tickets, and he sees a guy that he thinks is also from Africa working there.
Hakeem lands at JFK in New York, and St. John's is supposed to meet him. No one's there. He has 3 other tickets, one for Louisville, the University of Houston, and Providence. He walks outside of JFK, and it's cold.
As soon as I opened that door, the breeze that hit me from the outside, there's no way I couldn't even go outside, so I just went straight back in. What am I going to do?
He sees a baggage handler that happens to be Nigerian, and he asks him, hey, which one of these have weather similar to Lagos, Nigeria? The baggage handler looks. He says, Houston.
So I changed my tickets, catch the next plane to Houston.
And the guy goes, oh, Houston? It's hot as hell down there. That's where you gotta go. You gotta go to Houston. So immediately, he gets on a plane, shows up to Houston 3 days early.
Yeah.
No cart was there for him. Because mind you, it's not like he can text Houston and be like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm sure he could have made a phone call, but it's a lot different than it is now. Nobody was there for him. Didn't have anybody there to pick him up.
Number too.
Yeah. We're in that era of time. But Hakeem Olajuwon called called from the airport in Houston to say he had arrived. Lewis told him to take a cab to campus. If he'd been a recruit, I'd have told an assistant to go out there and carry his bags. But he was not a recruit. He was just, this was a straight up chance that these guys were taking on him.
Yeah.
So,
and they had previously, before that, had the recruiter or the scout had originally said for a guy prior to that, saying that the guy was 6'10" and the guy was like 6'5" instead. So
right.
He didn't have true trust for that recruiter.
Yeah, the guy had a history of like over exaggerating like crazy.
Yeah.
So I got to Houston, nobody was there.
Guy Lewis tells Mike Young and I, he says, look for a kid from Africa, probably will be about 6'7". I'm like, okay.
And so he said, if the guy is 6'6", 6'7", we're gonna send him back.
Mike Young and I see Hakeem, and he keeps growing, and growing. I'm like, no, he's a 7-footer, all right, but he only weighs about 170 pounds. And I call up Coach Lewis. I said, hey, Coach, it's Eric Davis. He goes, you got the kid? He says, I got him. I says, you know, he's 7 feet tall. He goes, well.
And so when he actually under-exaggerated,
yeah,
they were like, oh my God, we've hit the jackpot. So